Hello and welcome to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio. This is Stefan, your host, British by birth, American by choice. The Founding Fathers crafted some remarkable documents that led to the creation of a great country founded on liberty and self-reliance. I have lived in the Euro-socialist nightmare, and I'm doing what I can to return this country to the vision that the Founding Fathers gave us. We need to strive to rebuild that shining city on the hill, for without us, the world has nowhere to turn for freedom. For the next hour, I will be presenting news, views, and guests that help keep the true spirit of America alive. And good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you're listening to the show. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, welcoming you to episode 350. Yes, folks, a milestone, my last milestone. And it has kind of a double-edged milestone because it's episode 350, but it's also countdown number 5. Yes, tonight and then 4 more shows to go. But who'd have thought I'd even get up to 350? I never thought I would get this far. And in honor of it being the 350th show, I have actually fired up, and I promised this a few times before, never got round to it. I have actually fired up my Facebook Live here, folks. So, if you want to see me live, you can go to Facebook, look up my name, Stefan Bartelski, and you should be able to watch the Facebook Live happening right there. I'm not sure about the audio quality there, but of course you can turn the audio down on Facebook and then just watch and then listen to the actual audio through Spreaker. So as I mentioned earlier, this is countdown number 5, but I have 2 countdowns for you tonight. Countdown number 5 of my show, and the other countdown is 23 days, 12 hours, 55 minutes, and 54 seconds until the end of an era. That's right, because January 20th at noon is when Donald Trump will be sworn in, and so I have one of those online counters set to that time so I can see exactly how long it is until we are finally shod of King Barry. And want to say hi to the folks in the chat room. Carl is on with Rex, and Mary Brockman I see is in the chat room, but also on the Facebook live video. So nice to see you, Carl. Nice to see you, Rex. And Mary, nice to see you watching and listening in both places. So let me know after the show whether the face matches the voice. Let's go on. And as I said, here, just a quick change of topic. I hope that everybody did have a great Christmas, and I do wish each and every one of you, whether you're listening live, whether you're listening to one of the recordings, I wish you a very, 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 very happy, safe, and prosperous New Year. Stealing the 4 berries there from a tweet that the tweeter-in-chief used recently. And as one of the commentators said, that must mean it is a very, very, very one because it was used 4 times. Now, based on what we've seen today, I'd like to think that wish may not be an empty one. Except, of course, maybe for the Donald himself. He's faced with an outgoing liar-in-chief who is doing everything that he can to make things difficult for Trump. The biggest one that just happened is the betrayal of Israel, and that United Nations vote where America, for the first time ever, abstained and basically threw Israel to the wolves. Now, before I go into the reasons why this was done, and I think there are a couple, we also have to look at what actually happened. Everybody on the left is sort of shouting about the fact that, well, this was just about the settlements and sort of stopping the Israelis from building settlements on the West Bank, and they shouldn't do that, and that's Palestinian land. Well, none of the land there is Palestinian land, because there wasn't ever a Palestine. There was the British Protectorate of Palestine, but that's the closest that we came to Palestine. And that was at the end of the First World War, and Britain held it for a while. Prior and during the First World War, the Ottoman Empire held it, and it was just a province as part of the Ottoman Empire, so it wasn't a separate country either. So it was only in 1948 when the United Nations actually gave the land to Israel to start its own country and allowed for a Palestinian state to be set up, and the people responsible at the time didn't want it, as they have not wanted it since then. They don't want a separate Palestinian state. They want all of that land. So, what happened in this resolution? So, as we are told by the lamestream media, the baying lackeys for this most untransparent, most lying administration that we have had in centuries. They are telling us that it's about the settlements, but it's not. It's about dividing Jerusalem so that the Palestinians can set up their capital in Jerusalem. Jerusalem has never been the capital of any state, even if you say there was a Palestinian state. They've never had a capital there. Israel has always had a capital in Jerusalem since 1948, and historically Jerusalem was always the capital of the Jews, both from a religious point of view as well as a political point of view. So they want to divide the city, and what they want to do is put the Jewish quarter into the Arab part of the city. They want to put the western wall of the temple, the so-called Wailing Wall, as part of that. They want to put a number of Christian sites into that Arab side. And knowing everything that's going on with Christians in the Middle East, can we allow that? No. That's what we went to war over in the Crusades. And King Barry likes to say, oh, well, it's the Crusades is to blame for all these things going on, for the Muslims being so against Westerners. No, the reason we had the Crusades was because the Muslims at the time were being very aggressive. And what do we have now? If they take over that part of Jerusalem, the Via Dolorosa, so many important Christian sites as well as Jewish sites will be lost to the Arabs. The Arabs don't want the Jews praying there. So this was a total stab in the back on the part of the Obama administration, and just absolutely unbelievable. Well, why might he do this? Why might he do this? Well, I think there are two reasons why Obama wanted to do this. First of all, let's take the kind of the least bad of the two. Basically, it makes the possibility of Middle East peace in the next 4 years very, very difficult to achieve, because basically anything that Trump would do in terms of saying, no, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, will really tick off the Palestinians, and so they're unlikely to come to an agreement on peace. Now, that's exactly what Obama wants. It would be terribly embarrassing if Trump could waltz in and in a year or two achieve a peace accord, which for 8 years Obama has just absolutely been unable to do. To be honest, I'm not really sure whether or not Obama ever really wanted a peace accord. But he really doesn't want Trump to achieve it. He doesn't want, as I said, Trump to come in and show him up by being able to broker a peace accord. Now let's remember, Trump is the guy of the art of the deal. And if anybody could do it, I'm sure Trump could. But Obama is doing all his best to make sure that he can make it as difficult as possible for Trump. Tomorrow, I believe it is, John Kerry is going to give a speech where he outlines what this outgoing lame duck administration thinks should be the way forward for peace in the Middle East. I mean, just such a lot of wasted hot air. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's a lame duck. So they're spouting off about this. I'd almost say drawing a line in the sand, but we know what drawing a line in the sand to Obama means. Absolutely nothing. And it's just absolutely sickening that they actually are taking this action, because there's only one reason for it, as I said, to make things difficult for Donald Trump. Well, maybe not just that. I think there's a second reason for it. And that's that in this way, Obama is supporting his Muslim terrorist friends in Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, etc. And added to that are some reports that I've heard that Erdogan of Turkey is claiming that he has proof that the US has been supporting ISIS rebels in Syria and Iraq. Imagine that. The President of the United States supporting ISIS, probably our biggest enemy on the world stage, next to Russia, but definitely next to Russia, not behind Russia, and maybe even ahead of Russia right now. So our biggest enemy on the world stage, and the US is caught supporting them? Well, then I'm going to say one thing. If that's true, and I haven't had any confirmation of it yet, just rumors, if you like, that Erdogan is threatening to spill the beans. But if that were true, I'm going to say one thing. What we have whispered, but never dared speak openly about, is probably, I was going to say might actually be true, but I'm going to say probably actually is true. Obama is a secret Muslim. Because just look at how he is supporting the terrorists, Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood connected with terrorists, the Muslim Brotherhood wanting to institute Sharia law around the world, wanting to take over America. That's their stated goal. And he's supporting them and stabbing Israel in the back. I mean, take a look. I saw online, I saw a beautiful thing. There was a map, a huge map of the Middle East, which shows all the countries that are held by Muslims. And then there's this tiny little speck of dust on the coast of the Mediterranean that's called Israel. And they have to have that as well. They got tons of land. But you see, it's not about the land, it's not about the country. Well, a little bit it's about the country, because it's a democratic country. It's a country which has liberty for all, including Jews, Christians, and Arabs, and Muslims in Israel. Everybody is free to worship the way they want. No restrictions. But the left and the Muslims have to paint Israel as this evil empire that is discriminating against and killing Muslims. The only Muslims that Israel kills are those that are firing rockets off, trying to bring in bombs, run into crowds and start slashing them with knives. Those are the Muslims that are getting killed, not your day-to-day Israeli Muslim. And there are plenty of them. They even are in the government. They are even in the Knesset. Can you imagine that? Could you imagine that Jews are part of the Saudi government? There aren't even synagogues or churches in Saudi Arabia and most other Arab countries. There are churches, synagogues, and mosques in Israel, and nobody in Israel complains about that. So it's just absolutely disgusting. Okay, folks, I see that it's time for the commercials. I was thinking about, with this being the 5th show, I was going to stop. But somebody called one of the commercials last week, and I got a little bit of money. So I'm going to run 1 or 2 more shows with commercials, but definitely the last 3 will be without commercials. Mary, especially for you. But right now, I am going to run one. So that'll give me an opportunity to take a sip of my beer. I'll tell you about the beer after the commercial.
You can lose 10, 20, 30 pounds or more with Maximum Slim's first ever rapid weight loss guarantee. Today, you get Maximum Slim, an advanced fat and carb blocker, absolutely risk-free. The all-natural ingredients in Maximum Slim are a powerful weight loss combination. The Maximum Slim formula turns your body into a fat-burning furnace that supercharges your weight loss. Advanced fat and carb blocker stops the breakdown of sugar so your body doesn't store it as fat. Today, you'll get both of these products absolutely risk-free with no obligation. Only pay shipping. There are no expensive meal plans or exhausting DVDs. Just take Maximum Slim twice a day. It's fast, simple, and now it's guaranteed. Look, you can start losing weight today or not. Go back to your high school days and wear your favorite jeans again. Guaranteed. Call now and get both weight loss formulas free. Call 800-451-0228. 800-451-0228. That's 800-451-0228.
Doc, you gotta give it to me straight.
All right.
'Cause I'm dying here. I mean, take a look at this letter from the IRS.
Oh, my.
This is killing me, Doc. I tell you, it's killing me.
Cheer up, my friend.
Huh?
The tax doctor is here. My diagnosis tells me that you're going to be just fine.
Really?
The tax doctor will not rest until we find you the best possible tax settlement.
Really, Doc?
Guaranteed.
If the IRS claims you owe them $10,000 or more in business or personal back taxes, call a tax doctor right now. We could save you up to 75% if you qualify. Guaranteed or you pay nothing. Call right now for free details.
800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. That's 800-917-8546.
You're listening to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, broadcast on the internet, and also available at archives.patrickcomelately.us, a proud member of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network. And folks, back from those commercials, want to say hi. I see there's another couple of people watching on the Facebook Live. Even sort of my boss, Ron Phillips, who runs the ICRN that runs Red Nation Rising. And again, I do have to thank him for the opportunity to be rebroadcast through that network. It's a great network, and I will miss being there. But, after 7 years, I think just a little tired out, and who knows, maybe I will come back after a while if I'm ready. But let's see what happens with Trump first. So and there's a nice bunch in the chat room as well. So hi to you folks there. And Mary said no ads via the Facebook Live. That is correct, Mary, because I'm just using, and I'm not sure what the quality is. I guess it's using my phone's microphone, so I'm not sure what the audio quality is like on Facebook Live, but no, I'm not putting the Spreaker feed through Facebook Live. Not sure how I could do that, so just doing it this way. And I said after the break I'd chat a little bit about my beer. I realized I'm not sure here in America whether I'm supposed to be drinking on camera. I know that on TV there are some issues around that, but okay, who cares? Tonight I'm drinking an American wheat, so one of my more popular beers, I have to say, and this is actually the last glass. We had a Boxing Day party, British tradition. We had a Christmas after Christmas party yesterday. A lot of people over, and I was actually short on beer, but I did manage to get one ready just in time for the party. But it pretty much all got drunk up except for this one glass that I had left over for tonight. So I'm drinking that, and nice beer, but it's given me excuse to go brew some more, which is always fun. I like doing that. And thank you, Mary. Audio is good, you said. Okay, different channel. If I'd have known about this, maybe I should have done this earlier. And just reacting to Rex in the chat room, he says, do they have broadcast facilities in a FEMA camp? Hey, we're not going to have FEMA camps because Trump's going to turn them all into immigrant resettlement camps, Rex. So you and I don't need to worry about being in a cell next to each other, at least not for the next 4 to 8 years. Who knows after that, but we'll see. Or if somehow the Dems find some way, because they are still struggling, left, right, and centre, whatever they can do to make sure that Trump either doesn't make it into office, or if he does make it into office, just making life as difficult as possible for him. And so, as I said, this stab in the back by abstaining from the UN resolution, basically opening the door for it to be passed, whereas in historically America has always vetoed these kinds of anti-Israel resolutions in the Security Council, where the 5 main countries, the UK, France, Russia, China, and America, have a veto right. And this time, for the first time ever, America did not step in to support its ally, its best ally in the region. But on top of that, now Israel is claiming, and other sources, including Egypt and New Zealand, are confirming that the Obama administration actually helped to write this anti-Israel and anti-Christian UN draft resolution, and they were lobbying, both Biden and John Kerry were lobbying nations to get it passed. So think about that, folks. Does the Democrat Party really hate the Jews so much? And in the chat room we were talking about, Rex mentioned, I thought the Jews voted Democrat. Well, I think they used to, but if they've got the tiniest grain of common sense, there's going to be a huge swing of Jewish voters to Trump and the GOP in the future. So this anti-Israel, anti-Christian, anti-Jewish resolution was written, or it was helped written, by the US. France and the UK did not help either. They could have vetoed. We don't expect Russia or China to do it, but the UK or France were expected to do that. And apparently the UK was actually lobbying New Zealand, who was one of the proposers of the resolution. So they were not supporting Israel either. Israel has basically said they are breaking off relations with everybody who supported this resolution. And technically, America didn't vote for it, so they abstained. But, you know, in practice, they supported it. But I don't think Israel is going to stir stuff up too much now. There is a big meeting this week of foreign ministers, and I think Israel is going to try and just keep it quiet. But after the foreign ministers meeting, depending on what comes out of there, I think there's a big likelihood that Israel could even withdraw from the United Nations, and it's something that I hope Donald Trump will seriously think about. So yes, what can Donald Trump, what can a United States that's following a different course do about this? Once the resolution is passed, it's going to be difficult to get a counter resolution, so kind of a repeal resolution through, because now China and Russia, let's say England and France, they're Western countries, we can lean on them and they can do it. They'll perhaps go along with it, but Russia and China would love to stick it to the US, and they would be very happy to veto that. So it would be difficult to get this resolution undone. So here's my suggestion, analysis of what could happen. Now, I'm not a foreign policy wonk, and I haven't really done a lot of study on this. You know, this just came up, done a little bit of reading on it, but nobody's really come up with a solution of what Trump could do to support Israel. So I would expect Israel to say, you know what, I'm done with the United Nations, and to pull out. What do they get out of it? Virtually nothing. They're probably paying into it. They may get a little bit of welfare for perhaps the Arab citizens in Israel, but not worth the hassle. So Israel is likely to pull out. So what can Donald Trump do? Well, a lot of people are calling for Donald Trump to pull out of the United Nations. Maybe, but let's talk about that after the break, because it is now time for the next commercial. Sorry, Mary, but if you're listening on the Facebook side, you won't hear it. You'll just hear me going glug, glug, glug when I take another sip of my American wheat beer. So, folks, another commercial. I'll be right back.
Patriot come lately. British by birth. American by choice. Just like the Founding Fathers. The voice of the conservative resistance.
This is Stefan, your Patriot come lately, proud to be on Red Nation Rising Radio. These can be dark and depressing times, but Main Street USA finally has a competitive voice to traditional mainstream media outlets, and it's screaming at all hours 24/7, we want our country back. America, it's time to wake up, expose the regressives, and keep listening to the new dominant force in conservative internet talk radio, the Red Nation Rising Radio Network, powered by ICRN.
Not too long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, didn't it? For a vacation or a new car. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become risky. Pat Boone here for Swiss America. According to The Secret War, a new Swiss America white paper, I learned that all banks are now required to spy on you and me for the government, and then report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. You must read The Secret War. It's free. Truth is, I believe the government's new war against cash is really a war against us all. But the secret is now out. So please, get and read The Secret War.
Call 800-516-3405. 800-516-3405. 800-516-3405. Call right now. That number again is 800-516-3405.
You're listening to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, broadcast on the internet, and also available at archives.patrickcomelately.us, a proud member of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network. Okay, folks, looks like my Facebook video has stopped. Apologies for that. I guess my old phone can't quite take the load. I will try and restart it, but in the meanwhile, we will continue here on Spreaker, and it's kind of a new topic, so let me just put in the new topic sound there. And actually, David, or Mad Max, as he's also known in the chat room, kind of came up with a similar idea to what I was thinking that Trump would likely do. So the big question is, will Trump, just pull America out of the UN or kick the UN out of the US? Both would be great. And that would be one thing. But before he does that, I think what he should do, and as I said, David came up with a similar suggestion, we should go to the UN and say, okay, guys, we got a problem here. We don't like this resolution. Maybe the previous administration did, but we don't, and we want that changed. And please change it. Because if not, then we're going to leave, and we're going to ask you to leave the US as well, because we can build a nice veteran administrations hospital on that land in New York, and all the dues that we pay to the UN would be very useful to pay for that hospital, or to have the UN building converted into a hospital, and it would also be very useful to. Once the building has been changed, the remainder of those dues could be used to ensure that the veterans get proper health care. What would the UN do? Would they say, no, we've passed this, up yours? Given that the US pays a huge amount of the dues, especially since, and Mary pointed out that we weren't paying for a while, but when King Barry took over, he decided to pay all the arrears. So we fund a lot of it. So I would imagine that if we go back and say, okay, we've changed our mind, and this administration doesn't want that resolution, that might be one way to get it repealed. Or are China and Russia prepared to take over the financial responsibilities of the United Nations? Send the United Nations to Beijing, or to Moscow, or to Senegal, or even New Zealand. Put it in Wellington. Further away, the better, I think, as far as I'm concerned. So, and unfortunately, it looks like the Facebook video is not going to be coming back anytime soon. Let me just try one more thing. No, it really looks like it's stuck, and I don't want to interrupt the show. Maybe in the next commercial break, but that'll. We'll only have 10 minutes for the end of the show. And then it was rather nice because I saw another one of the Red Nation Rising hosts, but also a network owner, Rocky Stuckey, was on. And he was also watching it on Facebook. He has a show on Red Nation Rising, but he also has his own channel. STR.com stands for Streaming Talk Radio, and he also rebroadcasts this show. I want to thank him for that over the last year or so since I joined up with that, syndicated through him. So, folks, another outlet for very good shows there, STR as well as Red Nation Rising. But anyway. So this, as I said, it's leaking out now that the Obama administration has been helping write this, And this is in line with things that Obama's been saying since he first came into office. He said, he wanted Israel to go back to the 1967 borders. He wanted to hand over half of Jerusalem. And as I said, that's the Wailing Wall, Old Jerusalem, the Tomb of Jesus Christ, the Via Dolorosa. These are all Christian things. And Obama's been telling Israel to hand it over to Islamist groups, and Israel's been saying no. And doing this on Hanukkah and Christmas Eve is really a slap in the face. I've got to a point I can't get angry over this. I'm just so disappointed, and I'm just so glad that we're going to get rid of this jerk, because what I really want to call him, I can't do it because this gets broadcast on FCC-controlled airwaves, but I can call him a jerk, and that's what he is. Over the last 8 years, I have managed to only use the P word, I think, less than the number of fingers on 2 hands, maybe even just on 1 hand, because as some of the people have been saying about Trump, he was never my president as far as I was concerned. He was a jerk, a liar, just absolute untrustworthy thing. Anything he said, you basically took the exact opposite of what he said, and that was the truth. Most transparent administration in history meant the most secrets, the most skullduggery, the most, just absolute smoke-filled backroom type deals done ever. Now, after this resolution was passed, and I said it happened Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, I can't remember, Christmas weekend, let's say, and Hanukkah. So what did Netanyahu do? And basically, in a defiant move, he observed the second night of Hanukkah, Sunday evening, by lighting candles at the Western Wall in Jerusalem, in that part of Jerusalem that Obama wants to hand over to Hamas. Let's just see if I can get that Facebook out. And I think there you are. Stand tall, have some backbone, and say, I don't give a toss about this BS. I'm going to go here and act the same as I've always done. But according to the resolution, it is officially an illegal settlement, the Western Wall. So, just unbelievable. And of course, I'm very disappointed in the UK, not supporting him, but Netanyahu said, okay, fine. If you are not going to support us there, apparently they were supposed to meet and have a talk in Davos during the World Economic Forum, and the British mission in Tel Aviv, because of course they don't have an embassy, but the British mission in Tel Aviv was informed by the Israeli government that Prime Minister Netanyahu does not want to have a conversation with Theresa May. Now remember, Theresa May is a so-called conservative. But remember, conservatives in the UK are blue dog Democrats, and she's very much at the whims and disposal of a very loud and anti-Israel group in the UK, especially now that they have so many Muslims there. So anyway, no meeting. That's great. Now, what's surprising about this is that Theresa May had a speech But remember, she's a politician. She'd had a speech to a group in England called the Conservative Friends of Israel, and she described the Jewish state as a remarkable country, a beacon of tolerance, and a crucial ally for Britain. But when push came to shove, that all went out the door. So I'm very, very disappointed and very embarrassed for my mother country. But there's more. Old Prince Charlie, yes, the man who will never be king, old Prince Charlie, in his Christmas address, actually had the goal, and this I think is despicable. Well, the guy is all inbred and he's nuts anyway, but absolute despicable statement. He had the goal to say, at this time of Christmas, we should also think about Muhammad and the Muslims. Have you ever heard a Muslim saying Merry Christmas? Maybe your friends, if you have Muslim friends, because many of the Muslims are moderate. But of the leaders? No. Think about ISIS calling out, now that it's Christmas, to step up, the lone wolves to step up attacks on groups, and look what happened in Berlin. Right? I mean, words fail me that someone so important in the UK just absolutely made a fool of himself. I'm embarrassed that he would say that. And as I said, because we would never get the same thing from the other side. Now, remember, Netanyahu did wish all Christians a Merry Christmas. He had a Christmas and Hanukkah address, which he addressed Christians and wished them a Merry Christmas. He's a leader. He knows what to do. But all those jackals in the rest of the Middle East, none at all. Okay, folks, let's go. I think it's time for the final sets of commercials. Another sip of my beer, and then we're getting close to closing Countdown Show 5. Back in a moment.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more on your federal or state income taxes, I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. The IRS, with their Fresh Start initiative, is offering more flexible terms to Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. They can help you lift your wage garnishments, stop bank levies, and put your tax problem behind you once and for all. If you owe tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS or state, our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, we can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your debt for far less than what you owe. 800-357-8110. 800-357-8110. 800-357-8110. 800-357-8110.
The offer of a franchise can only be made through delivery of a franchise disclosure document. Imagine yourself being a leader in America's fastest growing demographic category. More than 10,000 people a day turn 65, and a large percentage are going to need a helping hand at home or in choosing the right assisted living community. Always Best Care is looking for people who've excelled at everything they've done, but they're seeking a new challenge. Always Best Care is one of the fastest growing companies in this explosive field. We're looking for 25 new franchisees to keep our booming business growing. We'll back you up with the strongest award-winning marketing program in the industry, and we'll provide the special training and support that's fueled our growth to prepare you for this great opportunity. All that's missing is you. Call Always Best Care toll-free at 1-800-643-7508. That's 1-800-643-7508. For Always Best Care, 1-800-643-7508. Call today.
You're listening to Patriot Come Lately Talk Radio, broadcast on the internet, and also available at archives.patrickcomelately.us, a proud member of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network. Okay, folks, back for the, unfortunately, the last part of the show. Mary's saying she's yet to have seen a full live show on Facebook. I don't know why it why it keeps getting interrupted like that. This is my first one, Mary, so but if it's happening to others as well, that's nice to know. But it is back up, so for the last part of the show, if you prefer the Facebook Live, want to see my face, don't know why you'd want that, but if you prefer that, it is up there. Anyway, I was looking at some of the things in the chat room. Very lively bunch in the chat room tonight. If you're listening to the recordings or one of the rebroadcasts, let me encourage you, please do join us live. I broadcast 11 p.m. Eastern Time on a Tuesday evening. So 11 p.m. Eastern is 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific. Do join us live here. There is a chat room. If you click on the little speech button in the Spreaker box that comes up when you start the show, and we're a pretty lively bunch sometimes, especially this week. So. And talking about, Mary made the suggestion that perhaps Obama should give ISIS, instead of half of Jerusalem, giving it to the Islamists, give half of Washington, D.C. to ISIS, which she then followed by, if he hasn't already done so. I said, well, maybe not Washington, because that is our nation's capital. Maybe they could give Chicago, which is his hometown, and that might be a good thing, because it actually might bring the murder rate down, if you think about it. As bloodthirsty as ISIS is, it might it might be a little better policed. And I also suggested maybe they should give half of Hawaii, because that is his other favorite place, and he's of course he's out there for another 3-week vacation. I'm told that his vacations in Hawaii over the 8 years have cost us over $35 million in all the costs involved. Unbelievable. Anyway, okay, let's quickly have another couple of topics. We don't have a lot of time left, just looking about 4 or 5 minutes. WikiLeaks has kind of gone away. Everybody said, oh, the election's over, we don't need to know stuff. But WikiLeaks is still dribbling stuff out. And talk about draining the swamp. The most recent WikiLeaks are, I think, a huge bombshell. But of course, it's all going to be with the inauguration and all the the new cabinet and everything. It's going to get swept under the rug. But what happened is another email from John Podesta going to that traitor Huma Abedin opens up very strong speculation that certain prominent Republicans who opposed Donald Trump were not just disloyal to Trump, but they were actually on the Hillary Clinton campaign's payroll. Specifically, an email sent in July of this year describes how funds were being diverted from Clinton's PAC to the super PACs of Jeb Bush, Carly Fiorina, and John Kasich. Those are the first three. It actually says JB, CF, and JK PACs will be noticeably silent for the rest of the campaign. Each will receive a significant allowance from advertising budget. HRC is in the loop and has talked to all three personally. And the email is marked eyes only. Yeah, I bet. I mean, that is a bombshell. We should kick those three out of the GOP immediately. Now, Other emails have surfaced that do not refer to anything other than title, but they've also raised eyebrows. And this would be extended to other members of the Republican Party. He is on board, will retract the invitation to speak. Eyes only. Well, let's think about it. The name is not mentioned, but the kind of the big invitation to speak that we all remember that got retracted was immediate following that remember the video or the audio on the bus, and then everybody was up in arms because how would Donald Trump dare say something like that about women? And this email was dated only days before Speaker Paul Ryan specifically withdrew the invitation to Donald Trump for that event in Wisconsin. Think about it, folks. Does that mean that the Speaker, the GOP Speaker of the House, was colluding with the Clinton campaign? Wow, that is a huge thing. Now, is it 100% proof? No name is mentioned. But timing is coincidental. And as George Noory, one of my broadcasting heroes, says, I don't believe in coincidences. And I don't believe in coincidences in this case. Another one, so that's 4. How are we doing on time? Well, we're almost there. So, another one, too large donation from PACs and private sources in early October went to John McCain right after he attacked Trump publicly, criticizing Trump. How about that? So John McCain was getting money from the Democrats. And shortly, not only did he get money, but shortly thereafter, his Democratic challenger in this tight race, Kirkpatrick, lost several key donors and money and support lessened from the DNC and the DSCC in the last few weeks of the race. Let's remember, John McCain is one of the lead sponsors of a committee to investigate any Russian influence into the election. Can we trust him? I don't think so. And another one, so that's 5, and the 6th one was had an email that simply states, cleared the road for him in 2020. Now, is that or isn't that Lindsey Graham? But it could mean that there will be no strong or supported Democrat in the South Carolina Senate race when Graham is up for re-election. But guess what? I hope that somebody from the Tea Party, somebody from the Conservatives is going to primary him out, so it will be a done job anyway. Okay, folks, I see that it is time to play the music and say TTFN. I'm actually a little bit over tonight, but we'll fix that in the edit. Thanks a lot, folks. 4 more shows starting next week, same time, same place. Thanks for coming. Thank you for listening to the show. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's topics. Whether you listened live, to a recording, or to a rebroadcast, I appreciate the time you share with me. We need to spread the message of liberty far and wide, so please tell your friends and family about the show. Thank you for helping to keep the beacon of hope burning. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, signing off. God bless America, and remember, L3, long live liberty.